Welcome to Patscast. I'm Brad Whitaker, making a case for Drake Maye out of the University of North Carolina. A few days ago, I did a similar podcast about J.J. McCarthy. When it comes between McCarthy and Maye, if you listen to the podcast or watch the podcast, you probably have an idea of which direction I sway. But either way, the New England Patriots are in a very good situation, but perhaps a very different situation depending on the quarterback that they select. If it is J.J. McCarthy, they get a proven winner, a guy with great mechanics, decent arm, and perhaps a little bit more elusiveness and speed than a guy like Drake Maye. But with Drake Maye, you get nothing but raw talent, you get size, you get leadership, and you get a guy who is excelled through a number of adverse situations that a guy like J.J. McCarthy hasn't faced, and J.J. McCarthy certainly doesn't have the number of reps as Drake Maye the last couple of seasons in college. Now, if you look at Drake Maye's numbers heading into his last year at University of North Carolina, he was kind of the 1B to Caleb Williams. A lot of people even said he was a better quarterback than Williams, but his numbers dropped off quite a bit with the new offensive coordinator. His best receiver was barely on the field, lost some offensive linemen. They were a bit banged up, didn't have the protection that he had the year before. The scheme did not fit him as well. And as a result, he's probably the third-ranked quarterback, at least on most NFL mock draft boards this year, with Caleb Williams obviously going number one to the Chicago Bears. In all likelihood, this could change. Washington's been quiet, but the Commanders will probably select LSU's Jaden Daniels at number two. So that leaves the Patriots with the tough decision between J.J. McCarthy or Drake Maye at number three. Now with Maye, like I said, you're getting raw athleticism, you're getting size, you're getting a lot of talent, and you're getting way more upside, a higher ceiling than any of these quarterbacks by far. Now, as Jerod Mayo said at the NFL owners meeting, probably getting perhaps a low floor as well. So it's a very interesting choice by the Patriots, especially considering that they are in a rebuilding mode right now. We don't expect them to be in the Super Bowl this season unless Tom Brady does, for some reason, return. So if you are making the case for a quarterback that should sit for a while, develop, learn their mechanics a little bit better behind Alex Van Pelt, the new offensive coordinator, Drake Maye certainly makes a strong case. Taller than any of these quarterbacks in the draft, has more weight, more size, a quarterback frame that really is ideal, like Drew Bledsoe, like Josh Allen, like Justin Herbert, but certainly has a lot more mobility than a guy like Drew Bledsoe and similar arm strength. In fact, he may be one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen when it comes to throwing off balance, which Drake Maye showed at his pro day at the University of North Carolina. Really made a point to throw the football off balance, and the ball sailed 70 yards downfield. And if you're looking at a project, a guy who could develop into a top 5 NFL star, well, Drake Maye fits the uniform better than any of these quarterbacks. And we've seen that time and time again at the University of North Carolina. And perhaps his greatest strength, which none of these other quarterbacks really have, particularly J.J. McCarthy, because he had an incredible offensive line at Michigan. He had an incredible running game, which means he could put defenses off balance when he did decide to throw. Drake Maye had to be the hero all the time at North Carolina. And he didn't choose to be the hero like Caleb Williams did at USC or even Jaden Daniels did at LSU. He had to be the hero because he did not have the receiving weapons around him, and he certainly did not have the offensive line these other quarterbacks had. So when you look at his stats and you look at his struggles, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. Because North Carolina was not a great team relative to Michigan, to LSU, and even USC, who probably had an inferior roster to the other two schools I just mentioned. Incredible arm strength, best in this draft. He has a body that is going to hold up in the NFL, that's taken hits before, and Tom Curran talks about this a lot. Drake Maye will take some killer hits. He took a spear in the back, and a play that would probably take Jaden Daniels off the field, would probably take Mac Jones off the field, would take a lot of NFL quarterbacks off the field, and he comes back in the next play, scrambles for a 15-yard game, delivers a strike on the next play. he's the type of quarterback that when he faces adversity, it's not going to faze him. He's going to be able to deal with that. And certainly the next quarterback of the New England Patriots, probably not going to have an ideal offensive line. Okorafor, unless they get a great left tackle in the draft, is probably starting on the left side. Not an ideal situation. Probably better than Vidarian Lowe, mind you. But his blind side's not going to be great. And Cole Strange may be banged up heading into the season. Who knows if he'll be ready. You'll have Andrews. You'll have Owenu. Still figuring out the City So situation at right guard. And we know the Patriots receiving core is far from elite at this point. So Drake Maye, that's not an unusual situation for him. That's something he's dealt with his entire time at the University of North Carolina. So coming into the Patriots, he would be able to potentially transcend that situation. And ideally, unlike what the Patriots did with Mac Jones, where they took weapons away from him, let Jacoby Myers go somewhere else, Elliott Wolf, the de facto GM, Drake Maye, they're going to put game plans, they're going to put player personnel around Drake Maye over the next 2 to 3 seasons and put him in a better situation as he learns, as he grows, and becomes an NFL starting caliber quarterback. Now, like I said, Drake Maye, of all these quarterbacks, is probably the least ready to start week 1 of the 2024 NFL season, which is okay. You have Jacoby Brissett. Elliott Wolf, Drake Maye, thinks he's an NFL starting quarterback. If Brissett has to start week 1 and Drake Maye has to learn behind him, that's fine. Brissett's a great mentor. He's a great leader. And Drake Maye has been a leader at the University of North Carolina. And he could develop into a guy that can run for 10, 15, 20 yards and bulldoze his way through linebackers a la Josh Allen. He's a guy that can throw the ball downfield, off balance, even with poor mechanics, a la Justin Herbert. And he's kind of a hybrid of those two guys, and that really is his ceiling. I mean, it could even be better than that, because if he has the ability to plow through the defense, run QB sneaks, do all the types of things that Josh Allen has, and has the type of throw, the type of touch that Justin Herbert has, then you really are talking about a top 5, maybe top 3 NFL level quarterback. Is he going to be like that as a rookie? Probably not. But 2 seasons down the road, 3 seasons down the road, you're drafting him at 3rd overall, you got a 5th-year option. He could become that guy. And that is the biggest argument for the Patriots to indeed draft Drake Maye, who seems to be the favorite, at least on most NFL mock draft boards, and at least among Patriots Nation. You talk about J.J. McCarthy, not a lot of Patriots fans want him to be the starting quarterback, the quarterback of the future in Foxborough. But Drake Maye, on the other hand, people do really want him there. And like I said, I've given my biases between the two quarterbacks. If it's Drake Maye, Patriots are in a really good situation. They're just going to have to make sure they put the right pieces around him over the next 1 to 2 seasons so that he can develop and not have it become a Mac Jones situation, who actually ended up regressing, went from a Rookie of the Year caliber quarterback, would have been Rookie of the Year if it weren't for Jamar Chase, to a guy that's now the backup in Jacksonville and was the backup to Bailey Zappi at the end of the season for the Patriots. In fact, I think he was 3rd on the depth chart by the time the season came to an end. I think even like Nathan Rourke was ahead of him or somebody like that. So Drake Maye, a guy that, look, I don't think he's as mobile as a lot of people says he is. Certainly he was a little bit mobile at University of North Carolina, but he's not going to have those same opportunities at the NFL. But if you need him to run, you need him to do RPOs, you need him to do all those types of things, which you couldn't do with Mac Jones, you couldn't do with Tom Brady. Drake Maye is going to be able to do that. And it's not so much about the speed. It's about his ability to get those QB sneaks, to get those extra 3 to 4 yards when you only need a couple, and to put the ball in the hands of the quarterback in situations like they did with Cam Newton, who couldn't throw the football. Drake Maye can throw the football. Now, are there accuracy issues? Certainly. Are there mechanical issues? Yes. But because his arm strength is so great, because he can throw the ball with velocity, he can also throw the ball with touch, whether it's in the short, intermediate, or deep range, Drake Maye can kind of compensate for some of those poor mechanics. And as the mechanics improve, which they should, working with a quarterback guru like Alex Van Pelt, who played quarterback in the NFL, he's only going to get better in those types of situations. And he's going to be able to lean on his arm strength and his athleticism whenever he does get on the field in New England. So look, when it comes to low floor, of all the quarterbacks in this draft, it's Drake Maye, unfortunately. But when it comes to high ceiling, it's Drake Maye as well. We're looking at a guy with the biggest bust potential, but also the biggest boom potential. And this is a risk, right? The Patriots would be taking a massive risk by drafting Drake Maye, but you're always taking a risk when you're drafting a quarterback at the top of the draft. Quarterbacks in the top 10, you only hit about 50% of the time. And even only, I'd say 20% of the time, do those NFL quarterbacks become actual stars, actual Pro Bowl, all-pro level players. Drake Maye certainly has the intangibles, the pieces, the athleticism, the arm strength, the traits that you look for in modern quarterbacks that we see in Buffalo, that we see in Los Angeles, that we see from Stafford, Herbert, Allen. He has all of that. And as long as the Patriots really try to prioritize putting the right pieces together, not rushing him if he's not ready, he will probably turn into a star quarterback. And that is the biggest argument for Drake Maye. Like I said, if it's McCarthy, I'll be happy. If it's Maye, I'll be happy. But very different situations. I think McCarthy could start week 1. I think he could win that quarterback battle in training camp. Drake Maye may struggle a little bit in training camp. Not saying he can't win that competition with Jacoby Brissett, with Nathan Rourke, with Bailey Zappi, who I actually think is a little bit underrated at this point. We've all kind of written off Bailey Zappi a little bit. But I think Drake Maye could still win that battle. He comes into camp, really shows that he has this playmaking ability that he showed in college. I don't know. It'll be fun. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Draft is in 1 week. Elliott Wolf had a press conference today, this morning, where he talked about what the Patriots are thinking heading into the draft. Not going to cover it too much because he really didn't say a lot. It was kind of a lot of, hey, we might trade the pick. We might trade up. We might trade back. Yes, we're looking at quarterbacks. Do we need a quarterback? Not really. We like Jacoby Brissett. We like our receiving core. We like our offensive line. We're all just kind of sitting there going like, okay, I don't know what you're watching because this is not the greatest receiving core. Certainly not the greatest O-line. But he is confident heading into the draft. Certainly the Patriots scouting department has done their due diligence. And we're going to see what ends up happening over the course of the next 7 days if the Patriots are indeed willing to shop the number 3 pick. If J.J. McCarthy is in the conversation, the ideal scenario is you trade back a couple picks, you still grab McCarthy, and you get a late first rounder by involving a third team. That would be the best situation in my opinion. But holding steady at number 3 and taking either of those guys, McCarthy or Drake Maye, I don't think you're going to go wrong either way. That's it for this episode of Pat's Cast. Sorry, still recovering from an illness. Doing a little bit better each day. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe if you're listening to Apple Podcasts. And we'll be back throughout the week, throughout next week, as the draft gets closer, and we'll be covering each pick, at least in the early rounds. Immediately afterwards, you're going to want to listen to Pat's Cast when those picks come in, as we break down what could make or break the future of the New England Patriots. Will get interesting. Enjoy the jingle.
Rising up, we're gonna take the field. Pat's Cast in the house, gonna make you feel. Drake Maye, the future, the next big star. Bringing glory back, we'll go far. Dropping bombs like we're Tom Brady, making history. It's our legacy. New England proud, we won't back down. hardcore. Drake Maye, he's the one to rebel. With a muscle, an arm, and a heart so strong. Patriots nation, we'll sing along.